welcome to Hope for My City podcast. We are on the Barbershop Edition. We have a local barber here, and man, tell us a little bit about yourself.
What's up, Waco? My name is Rudy Ray Morales, born and raised in Waco, Texas. I've been cutting hair for 9 years, licensed 8, but total 9 years. I have 6 children, and I've been with my wife for 14 years and 8 years married.
Man, that's a beautiful thing. So you got a big family, man.
Yes, sir.
When you first started off, how did that work out with kids? Did you have kids? Did you have your wife? Where were you at with that?
Yeah, so when I first started cutting hair, I had 2 boys at the time. They were little. They were still babies.
Okay.
Yes, sir. I was working at Caterpillar Warehouse at that time.
Okay.
I was 21, just turned 21. And one day I was on break, on my lunch break, and I was thinking to myself, like, man, I need to figure out what to do next. What can I do to teach my boys or to make more money? So I went to Walmart over there in Hewitt and bought some Walmart clippers.
Walmart?
Some Walmart clippers, yo.
Wow. And so what happened? How did you start off?
Man, right after that, I told my wife that she didn't believe me at first. I said, man, I'm finna start cutting hair. And she probably thought it was one of these things I thought of and would end up stop doing it. But I went to Office Depot. I made a little card. It had a little blue barber chair on there. It said first time free, next time $5. So I started passing those out. Man, and people started calling me, and I would be honest with them, like, yeah, this is my first time. But you see, back then, ball fades were in at that time.
Okay.
Everybody getting ball fades. You couldn't really mess up a ball fade like that, especially with a 1 on top. So I thought I was doing something. I thought it looked good, and I posted on Facebook, and everybody started saying, like, oh, man, he cut hair now? So who don't want a free cut, right? And the next time, $5. Right. So within that time, you know, I was doing my thing a little bit, and I signed up for barber school by faith. I signed up for barber school. It was called Interstate Barber School over there for North 19. It's no longer there right now. I believe it's Next Generation now. Shout out to them.
Okay.
But you know what? I started going to school and I was working. But it came to a point where I got fired from Caterpillar. Fired over there. So I told my wife, like, if I'm going to do this, I'm going to go all the way. So you know what? I went to school full time, started practicing designs. And, man, it's just been up from there, honestly.
How hard was it to transition and do that, to go to school, attempt to do it full time, and in those beginning early years for you?
Man, in the beginning early, so when I started going full time, I would say roles switched. Cause my wife, we had 2 boys, my son Rudy and Isaiah at that time. They were still little. Our roles switched. So shout out to my wife, my beautiful wife, faithful woman of God. She started working at Magnolia. This is back when they were on Franklin.
Okay.
She started working while I was going to school. And at that time, I wasn't making just no money like that.
Right.
So thank God that she started working full time while I went to school. She held it down. And at that time, I was starting to build a little clientele while I was in school, but I was charging $10. So I would go to school, then go home and start cutting in my laundry room.
Okay.
Yes, I used to cut in my laundry room while I was in school. And to be honest with you, back at that time, I was real big on like promoting. Like I remember making flyers with like a collage of haircuts. I thought they were good. And I went to Crispy Chicken right there on Franklin. They let me hang up my flyers there.
Yeah.
And even Pablo's and even a Mexican restaurant called Lupita's. So they let me put my collage of haircuts there with my phone number. And for like 2 years, man, people were calling me. They're like, hey, I seen your pictures over here at this food joint.
Yeah.
So I was real big on that, passing out cards, you know, just really promoting myself. Because I didn't really post that much on social media, but I was really, at that year I was in barber school, I was really trying to get it, like trying to get myself out there, and it was paying off, you know. So even when I'm thank God for my wife stepping up, believing in my vision, believing in what I wanted to do, you know. So I was able to finish barber school within 11 months. I was putting those hours in. And I owe my wife everything, man. She's a faithful woman of God. And without her, I couldn't have done it, honestly.
Wow.
Yep.
Wow. So you start off with some humble beginnings there, just trying to figure it out, stepping out in faith.
Yep.
For you during that time, you know, how was your faith crucial to doing that as a young man?
I stepped out of faith, but see, I stepped out being bold, and when we're talking about faith, like I didn't really. I would be honest, I didn't have a relationship with Jesus back then.
Okay.
I just
Okay.
knew of God. I know God. We all knew of God. I
Yeah.
just didn't have a relationship with Jesus Christ. I only prayed to God when I needed it.
Uh-huh.
But I always been the type to, like, if I'm gonna do something, I'm gonna do it. So I had the boldness to do it and stepping out of faith even back then. And I believe it was all God ordained to even where I'm at now in
Okay.
this walk and with barbering. But we'll get to that here in a few.
Okay.
But at that time, I really couldn't see it, but I know I wanted it.
Okay.
And I did it by faith, and I completed barber school. And right after that, I went to a shop called man, I can't remember, but shout out to my boy Oscar Diaz. I want to say it was called the Chop Shop. It was
Okay.
the Chop Shop. He had opened up a shop on Dutton. I was fresh out of school, and he opened up a shop. You see, I had two places to go. It was either gonna be King's Barbershop, even brother Matt Harvey. Shout out to Matt Harvey. Look at me now. He had hit me up looking for some barbers, and then I was gonna go to Rolando Lock Shop at Off the Top. He had hit me up, but I ended up riding with my homeboy Oscar. Went to that shop. And I could be honest, man, it was a little, from the beginning of my career, I never went to a shop where it was established.
Mm.
So when I went to that shop, I had some clientele to get me going, right? To get me going. But of course, my brother's shop was new. So I really had to, still get it how I live, like putting myself out there on social media, still passing out cards, just getting any head that I could. And then, he ended up closing down within a year. So I went to my brother Ulysses Barbershop at Next Generation.
Okay.
They had just opened up.
Mm.
That was still a new shop. There wasn't no walk-ins at that time. So I've been on some get it how you live mentality when it came to barbering since the beginning.
Yeah.
I didn't depend on the walk-ins. I really just had to get it for myself. And I stepped out of faith, and I ended up getting me a suite right after that.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, I ended up getting me a suite.
What was that like? What was the difference from having a booth to pay and then getting a suite?
It was, just the money we would pay every week. I was just putting it toward that building, that room.
Okay.
And like I said, like I wasn't really relying on walk-ins, so it didn't matter if I was gonna be by myself and I didn't have no traffic.
Okay.
Because by then I was just taking care of my clients and believing that I'm gonna get more new clients. So that was definitely branching off on my own. That was my second year being licensed.
Okay.
And it was definitely experience, and it was a blessing too, man. It just really encouraged me, like, hey, I could do this. I could really do this, because in that third year of being licensed, that's when I just shot my shot, and I got a barbershop, actual barbershop in North Waco.
Mm.
Yep.
Okay. What was that like?
So that was really a leap of faith too, and it was over there located as on Sleeper. It was called Second Look Cuts. I had two barbers in there with me. Shout out to Ben Diaz and Joe Cuss, man. I love them. God bless them. That was a really humbling as well, man. And to be honest with you, we got it off the ground. We had a grand opening. I had it for 2 years. The second year COVID hit. You remember when they shut down all the shops?
Yeah.
And then I was still having to come up off that rent every month until they let us back in. But within those 2 years, man, being young, being 23 years old, having my own barbershop, my own business, the money was good. I was making money. And I could be honest, man, pride rose up, arrogance. I didn't know too much on the business side. All I knew is I was getting money. I'll pay the owner the rent and just go on about my business, right? But within those 2 years, I started straying for what was meant for the purpose of the shop. Not just taking care of my family, but building a family establishment. I was, going out all the time after work, getting so much money. I was misusing the money. And then within that time, I made mistakes in my marriage. You know what I'm saying? Just thinking I was all that. I had a barbershop at age 23, going out, disrespecting my wife, disrespecting my marriage. And that's what brought problems. See, I brought my home problems into the business,
Okay.
which wasn't good.
All right.
And at that time, I started losing myself, really. I started drinking more, going out more. I ran to drugs. I ended up picking up a coke addiction at that time, and it just wasn't looking good for me. I was so stressed out by losing my marriage and doing drugs and drinking that I would cancel on clients all the time. I would cancel on them, so I started losing them. And to be all the way 100 with y'all, I even started to clear up my addiction. My wife would be like, "What you be doing all day?" I was cutting, but my haircut money I would take home, but I still wanted to support my habit. It even got to a point where I was telling clients like, "Hey, if you shoot me this right now, I'll take care of you when I see you, and I'll give you an extra free cut." So I could go buy the drugs. That's how bad in the hole that I got in. And I could say it now because I know I've been forgiven. And there's even those clients that I did do wrong. They came back to me because they knew that wasn't me. That was the drugs, and they see where I'm at with God right now and in my life. And for those who didn't, God bless you. But I went down a dark hole at that time having that shop. And but I don't regret nothing because it got me to where I'm at right now. And it's just things didn't work out in my favor. But it was a learning lesson. And, I take full responsibility for the mistakes I did make. But it was a good run over there. It was called Second Look Cuts.
Okay.
Yes, sir.
So then what happened after that?
Man, right after that, like I said, after COVID, I had to let the shop go. I wasn't in no position to keep it going. And shout out to Joe and Ben. They kept it running. They changed the barbershop name. God bless them. But I had my own things going on in my life. And at that time, it was hard for me to cut because I went back to the house cutting, but I'm still got family issues going on. And I didn't even want to cut, but I knew I had to keep the flow going enough to have some money to support my children. And, it seemed like I didn't be able to crawl out that hole. Like I would try to do good and get sober, but that was only for like 2 months or so. Then I'll go running back to the vomit. But, I reached out to my brother Ulysses again, one of the shops I went to in my early days of my career. He had a spot available. I went over there, and I was working there for a little while, and I ended up leaving. The same thing, the same issues came back over there. I just couldn't get right with my family. I'm losing my wife again, losing my children, running to the alcohol, running to the drugs, doing a pattern. It was just a pattern all over again. And then that time I had to leave that shop. And then I really just took a break. I was cutting at home for some months. I was cutting home for some months, just trying to keep the little clients that I did have. And, my career was just going downhill, bro. I was losing my family. I lost my business. I was losing my business again. And I just couldn't get it right until one day that a family member had invited us to church one time because I didn't know nobody in no faith at that time. But I did reach out to one person, shout out to Brother Tino. I knew he was a man of God, and I just needed some guidance because at that time, everybody else was just doing their own thing. You know what I'm saying? I didn't know who to really talk to, and he planted that seed in me, man. But, of course, I still went back to the vomit, but I went to church. I went to his house. Okay. Shout out to his house, Pastor Warren and them.
Yes, sir.
And when I went there, I loved it the first time. And I went back in, and it was around the time they were having baptisms, right? So I signed up for baptism, and, that's a testimony itself, but I ended up getting baptized there because I was really wanting to change, not for my wife, not for my kids, but for myself. And I told God, I said, God, I'm tired of living like this. I done lost everything, I don't want to lose my life. I don't want to go to hell. I don't even want to go to prison, I was just at that point, like, what is it going to be? Am I going to make this change for myself, And I decided to take that step of faith, man, jumped in that water, and I can honestly say, man, I ain't never been the same since. I came out a new man, a new creation in Christ. That's when I picked the clippers back up, and God had to, because I was thinking about getting a job. God was like, that's not for you. He's like, you going to trust me or not? So I picked the clippers up back by faith, and I ended up getting into a new shop again. It was every shop was new. Went to a new shop. It was at the Richland Mall. It was called Game Day Cuts. Shout out to Nick the barber. So that's when I was walking this new walk with Christ, staying sober and just trying to build my clientele back up, because I know I burnt a lot of bridges with clients, and, a lot of people thought they did see me fall off, but I had a lot of people reach out to me when they see me back in motion, posting cuts again. they're just like, man, you still the best barber to me, bro. I know you weren't right back then, but I see you doing good. And of course, at that time, I'm fresh in the walk, so anybody could be like, oh, he's just saying that right now. But I really had to walk it, not for anybody, but for myself, and really just let the fruit talk. So, I just started posting pictures again, building new relationships with clients, and rebuilding those old bridges that I burned down.
Yeah.
And God just had favor on me. God just kept providing. He was sending new clients. He was bringing back old clients. And at that time, I left this out, but at that time, I was really barbering for the money. The money's cool. It's okay to have money. But at that time, I had a selfish desire.
Right.
From what I know now and the experience I have now, like, I really used to grind sun up to sundown when I had a shop. Like, my kids didn't never see me. I never went to family birthday parties, family gatherings. My wife had to do all those things by herself. And those are years that I missed out when my kids were little because I always had to work. I always had to be at the shop. Now, I'm not saying there's nothing wrong with grinding, going hard, but there's got to be a healthy balance in it. And at that time, I couldn't see it. But as I'm starting this new walk, God showed me, like, God had favor on me, and God showed me that there's a healthy balance. Like, I didn't have to cut past 9 o'clock no more. And if I didn't hit a certain number, I know that God's going to provide no matter what. Now faith is really tying into, like, I don't have to go drive myself crazy trying to get this certain number or work so hard and take away from the time with my family. Nothing against nobody who does grind. That's good. It's different with everybody. But in this season, I had to learn to really trust God and rely on him.
Yeah.
Am I going to try to make it, or am I going to do my part, do my best, and let God do the rest? So at that time, God's providing. People seeing the change. I've been sober for 4 years.
Congratulations.
4 years. Been walking with God for 4 years, and I can say one thing, that it's been a blessing walking in this balance, knowing that God's going to provide, knowing that I don't have to lose sleep or family time on being a barber now. And it means so much more than money now. I'm not even worried about the money because I know God's going to take care of me. Because if I seek first the kingdom of God, above all else, live righteously, all things are going to be added. So now barbering my passion is the relationships that I build. It's more about the relationships, because I come across all kinds of people, and a lot of people tell me now, like, hey, man, that barber chair is the pulpit. That barber chair is the pulpit. Like, I don't got to go looking for it. I don't got to go looking for nobody. They'll just come to me. And you always hear people say barbers are like therapists or counselors. But on some natural stuff, like, it is like that. Now, the people that do come to me, they bring their problems, they have questions, and I could genuinely give my experience from my past trauma, my past mistakes, and really just guide them. I don't got to go throw the Bible at them. I don't got to preach down their throat or nothing like that. I just let it be genuine, because what's in the heart is going to flow out.
Right.
I'm not saying, hey, look over here, I'm a Christian, I'm the man of God. No, people are going to see it. People are going to see it by the way I walk and by the way I talk. And I could say this past 4 years in my career has truly been a blessing, because I give my work and my career to God. I use it for his will now. And I'll be honest with you, Pastor G, that there's so many people I done led to Christ that come to me just for haircuts. And this is short-term discipleship every week with them. Yeah. Because I'm asking, because they given their life, they seen my transformation within these 4 years, and they were like, man, like, God has got to be working, like, because I seen you change. I didn't seen you hit rock bottom and rise back up, and I get to share that with them. They see it, so I'm able to help them in the areas where they were ashamed to talk about, and just me being bold, sharing my experiences, it opens up that door for them to trust me, and God get the glory, nothing about me. But there's been a lot of my clients, man, who's given their life to Christ just through our relationship, and just letting them see Jesus through me. And the discipleship is like me, hey, what you read today? The discipleship is the fellowship when they come every week, every 2 weeks, just sharpening them up. And I could count like at least 9 of them, glory to God, that I baptized. They asked me about faith. Hey, like, I want you to baptize me, and I teach them in the word what baptism is, and that it's not a game, but because because they don't want just anybody baptism. And I always encourage them, like, get in the church. And some of them do go to a church, and I try to keep things in order. But I remember I always tell them about the water, where like, there's some water right there, because faith is now. We're not promised tomorrow, and who am I to miss that opportunity for you, you know? So do it by faith. So it's just been a real blessing, and I'm thankful for all my clients, man. It's different doing it, being a kingdom barber, I could tell you that. And there's nothing against, you know, because there's a certain shops and there's certain barbers, they move how to move, because I used to move wrong, you know, but, you know, I own up to all my mistakes. And the way I live and conduct myself, I could go anywhere, you know, any shop, and it ain't going to make me compromise, or I don't got to change the way I am or speak a certain way. I'm just keep it all the way real, you know. People respect me. My clients respect me. And it's not even a me thing. It's just if they show any respect to me, they're honoring God. Because there's even, I've seen transformation in my clients to where they almost said cuss word. They were like, oh, my bad.
Yeah.
And they're like, my bad, bro. Like, nah, bro, you good. You talk how you want. But they don't know that they're honoring God, not me. You know what I'm saying?
Well, that's good. Thanks for sharing. I think, you know, that's really neat how people can show up and get a haircut, but also find some hope in a haircut, right?
Yeah, for sure.
And there's so many things that are negative in the community that, man, if you can go get a haircut and somehow walk out of there filled with some hope,
yeah,
to continue to move forward despite the struggles going on inside you, around you, that's a good haircut right there.
Amen.
It's worth that kind of haircut. Shout out to all the barbers out there.
Yeah, shout out to all the barbers.
But you know, from a barber standpoint, what has been the most challenging overall that you would say doing this for 10 years now?
9 years.
9 years now. What has consistently been the most challenging part of being a barber?
Oh, the challenging, I'll be honest with you, and it's different for everybody, but for me is just being on top of keeping my track record of income.
Okay.
Keeping my track record of income. And of course, like I told you, I went down a dark hole, so I wasn't even worried about nothing like that. But, you know, thank God for, you know, they keep record on card swipes. Yeah. And if I do get any cash, you know, I try to, you know, make a deposit. I encourage you barbers, man, whenever you get off work, man, just try to go dump it in the bank, get that track record. Even getting your little notebook, write it down. You know, for so many years I postponed that. Like, I said I'll do it, and I'll do it. And then some weeks I'll skip some weeks, some days I'll skip. But, you know, I can be honest with you, I'm getting better at it.
Good.
Better now than never. Amen.
Amen. That's good, man. Well, okay. So now you're at a place cutting hair. You're able to. What would you say the difference has been, numbers wise, in clientele from where you started to kind of where you're at now?
Okay, but before we answer that question, I forgot, man. Shout out to Faye Masters Barbershop.
There you go.
Shout out to my boy Carlos, man. Carlos Canales and all the brothers over there at Faye Masters Barbershop. But the difference now is less now versus, we take it back 5 years ago. I had a lot of heads. Remember, I told you I'll cut from sun up to sundown. Sometimes I wouldn't get out the shop till like 12 at night.
Okay.
And, you know, to be honest, sometimes we'll be drinking while I was cutting. But I had a lot of clientele back then, because you got to understand, back then, haircuts were $20.
Okay.
So I had a lot of youngsters. Everybody was coming for a $20 haircut at that time. So even besides, you know, me going through what I went through, but whenever the price rises up, some just start to fade away.
Yeah.
You know, shout out to them too. But, you know, some people don't want, at that time, they didn't want to pay $30. Yeah. You know, so even when price changes, some people just flock away. So definitely now I have less clients, but I have a good, solid clientele to where it makes up. I'm making way more with less than I did back then with a whole bunch, if that makes sense. You know what I'm saying? Yeah. So I got a good, solid clientele, making way more, praise God, but less hours, and I'll work all day with all them, and I still wasn't making what I'm making now.
So you started out with Walmart clippers. What you got now?
Oh, man, I love walls. You know, a lot of people be getting these. I got some Babylons too. I got some Andys, but a lot of people be getting these new clippers that be coming out. But I always update them, always get new blades, of course, and I always buy a new pair. I probably buy the same pair every year,
Okay.
which is because I love them. I don't like trying nothing new, you know.
Yeah.
So I like walls.
Okay.
So,
All right. Is there a particular model of walls or not
the
really?
5-star magic clips. I love magic clips. The cordless magic clips.
Okay.
And the cordless wall detailers, they be hitting too. I love those. I've been using those for years. So I tried new clippers before, like Babyliss. I do like Babyliss trimmers, but I like to keep it simple. Some people will say, man, you need to update them. But I just like, man, if it ain't broke, don't fix it. You know what I'm saying?
Got you. Man, what do you think about the new like the spray on? Do you ever get into that, or you got people that get into all that where they there's things are evolving. The way people are doing haircuts now are different. There's beard stuff. Even with that, I think I've seen where they color the beard and all kinds of stuff. What are your thoughts on your observation on all of that?
Man, shout out to everybody who been using the enhancements, the spray. That's not my lane.
Okay.
And there's nothing wrong with doing it. And to be honest with you, none of my clients get it.
Yeah.
So that's a reason why I don't do it.
Yeah.
Now, I ain't gonna lie to you. I got a little can up there if I need to bust it out one time, but I got it on. I don't got the spray, machine, but I got the little can. It works good, but I don't use it. And preferably, I wouldn't want to use it. And luckily, my clients don't want it.
Yeah.
So I never had to just shoot in that lane. But I see other barbers using it, bro. It be looking icy.
Okay.
It be looking icy. It looks good. Client knows best. So they want to pay for that service, and you gotta honor it to them.
All right.
Yes, sir.
So for people who may not know, when you get a haircut, what's the purpose of the hot towel?
Yeah.
Or warm towel, whatever.
Man, the hot towel, that's just a form of service, of extra service, really just courtesy, just not only just to soften up the hair, but it's supposed to be relaxing for them too, versus, slapping some shaving gel on there, doing it real quick. And there's nothing wrong with that too, but there is some people who really want that hot towel. They want that service. They want that extra mile. Mm-hmm. And it makes them feel good. It's relaxing, and it's more smoother on the skin too, softening up those hairs, especially if they got thick beards, So the hot towel is just more on the relaxing side, providing that service. Honestly, I do it here and there. A lot of my clients don't have beards like that, and the ones I do, I just throw, like some shaving gel on it, some clear stuff. I'm not too big on the hot towel shaves not unless they request it. Now, if they request it, then yeah, we're finna do it. But, that's just me. I hardly see some of the barbers. No, there's a lot of barbers who still do it, even got like the steam machines.
Yeah.
But and the way my schedule is set up, the way my clients book, that just consumes time too. You got to look at the time consuming on that too. Versus you give a special service, I already probably missed out on another client, But like I said, there's the booking app. So if they want that, then you could time it out. So that way you won't get behind or nothing. But me personally, I only do it when it's requested.
Right.
Yes, sir.
So, man, I remember, I asked because not everybody knows why.
Yeah.
But, I remember I was at a barber at one time in the past that they would put a hot towel on my face, but it was cold. So water dripping on down. I'm like, dude, what's going on? Man, I didn't understand the purpose. That's why I'm like, man, is a hot towel supposed to, do something so when you cut, it's easier to go on the grain or whatever of your face, or because man, the towels were not warm or hot.
Not
or whatever.
warm. Dang.
Nah,
he's supposed to soften up. You know what I'm saying? Soften up the hairs.
I think they kind of missed the concept of why they were supposed to be doing it. But anyway, I appreciate you for answering that. You mentioned that. Hold on, what was I going to say? Give me a second. What were you just now talking about?
Oh, we're talking about the haircuts, the timing.
Oh, all right. So you mentioned the app, how much do you use that? Do you notice, like, in your environment of barbers, does everybody use that? Why not? What do you think about it?
Man, look, let me be honest with you, man. Yeah, in the barbershop that I'm at, Fay Masters Barbershop, everybody's using the app, whether it's Square or the Cut app or Booksy. Booksy's an older app. There's probably still some people using it, but I know a lot of people have switched over to Square or the Cut app. And to be honest, man, it's real convenient. And honestly, I didn't start using it till 2 years ago.
Okay.
Out of my whole career, people been telling me, "Hey, use the app, use the app." But I was keeping old school. Like whoever hit me up, message me, I'm gonna write it in my notes on my phone, and I'll put the times. You know what I'm saying? I always space them out 30 or 35 minutes apart. I'll look at my notes in my phone and see who I wrote down the book. I did that for so many years in my career until 2 years ago. I finally downloaded the Booksy app. I was using Booksy for a minute. You know, I think it's like $31 a month, just so I could have a system for them to book. Because after a while, it did get tiring just having to go back and forth with people. Oh, well, this time don't work. They're asking me again, what else you got? What day? So and then I was missing messages, and I was like, man, I'm going to just go ahead and get this app. So that way, send them the link, and they'll go pick a time and day for themselves. And then I eventually switched to Square. You know, Square is free. It does the same thing. People can look you up and find you. You can get new clients. So I switched to Square because I already use Square for payments anyway. So I just use Square everything. But it's real convenient, bro. So that way people could get in, get out. You don't have to go back and forth with people, you know, or worry about none of that. So I encourage any barber out there, man, if you're not using it, get on the Square app or get on the Cut app. Any haircut app that will help book appointments, go for it.
Man, so, you know, what advice would you give to those that are new and coming on, like maybe they're in school right now,
Yeah.
and they're about to graduate? What would you say to them? To probably be among all the important things. What's the most important thing you think to get out to them in their career?
Man, just do right. Do right how you carry yourself professional. Carry yourself as a professional, you know, like I'm not here to say you can't talk a certain way, but you always want to conduct yourself in a good manner. When it don't matter if you're cool with that person, talk right, you know, talk polite, you know, stay in communication with your clients. Consistency is everything. And you just got to make sure you have a balance though, because you don't want to go overboard and say, yeah, I got to get these heads. Now everybody's life different. I don't know what you got going on in your life, but having a balance, being a barber is everything, man. And being consistent and the way you conduct yourself. You know, because a lot of times people gravitate. We know the shop is like, hey, that's where the men go hang out at. We could talk about whatever. We could say whatever. A lot of stuff takes place in the shop. And but it's okay to stand out. It's okay to conduct yourself a certain way and just be professional in everything you do. You know, and don't ever chase the dollar and end up messing up the cut. Because it's always going to be quality before quantity. You could try to get as many heads in, but you try to ran through 6 heads, but 3 of them weren't looking right. The money is always going to be there, and you never know if you try to rush this one head, and because you got another head on the way, and you're like, oh man, I got to get this money. You don't know if you would have blessed this man's game with a nice clean cut and took your time, he probably would have paid you double. So it's not always about trying to get the money.
Or
just
come back even.
Yeah, focus on the quality. You know, it's gonna be always win before quantity. And as you develop your speed, now you could get a good 2-3 of them in an hour. But focus on the quality. It's not always about the money. The money gonna come. Let me tell you why the money gonna come. Because you're gonna be consistent, and you're gonna be precise, and you're gonna carry yourself well. That's what's gonna bring them back.
Who inspired you to want to cut hair?
Honestly, I can't say no. I just looked at anybody and said, man, I want to cut hair. But I do want to shout out, you know, I had 2 friends at that time, like I said, Oscar Diaz and Ulysses. They were barbering. I don't think Ulysses was even licensed. He was still cutting at the house. But I got haircuts from both of them at that time. They're both my boys. Shout out to them. So it kind of seemed like normal. I didn't say I started it because of them, because I thought of that on my own, like, man, what can I do? And cutting hair kind of always caught my eye when I was younger. And that's it, man. But that was the only 2 barbers that I had around that were my friends. But it wasn't like, oh, man, I want to cut hair just like it wasn't. I can't honestly think I looked at someone and was like, man, that's real encouraging. I want to do it. It was on everything was on some natural stuff. And like I said in the beginning, like I believe that was God ordained, man, in the way how He's using me now in my career, using it for Him. You know.
How do you feel the future of barbershop is, like where it's going?
Oh man, it's just
Or barbering, I should say.
it's man, it has grown so much. It's a never ending. It's a never ending business. It's only gonna grow more. It's only gonna grow more because these shops are popping up. It's not even about having the shops popping up. It's the schools that are popping up. So if we got more schools, that means we need new barbershops. Amen.
Yeah.
So it's grown, bro. Man, I can't even imagine how it's gonna look a couple years from now. But it's definitely growing, and of course the barbers are growing. They're getting more. They're talented. Um, they're growing with the times, like you said, using these enhancements, using pencils on the edge ups. You know, I don't use none of that, but it's definitely growing. I believe it's gonna be way different from what we see it now in a couple years.
All right, man. Well, man, we appreciate you for coming in. You have any closing thoughts or observations about the career path of barbering?
Yeah, man. If barbering has been on your heart, if you're thinking that you're wanting to do it, just try it out. You know, there's nothing wrong with you. Won't know until you try. So step out in faith, be bold, and if you want some advice or some pointers, you could reach out to me. You know, go sign up for school. Just do it by faith, and don't ever think that there's no time, because barbering is always going to be here. You might go do it 5 years from now, 10 years from now. It's never too late. It don't matter what age you are either. If you want to be a barber, just sign up. And I believe if you put God first, you know, He gonna do the rest. Just do your best and let God do the rest. I love barbering, and if you have a desire, passion to want to do that, holler at me, man, and I'll give you some advice and we could talk about it.
All right. Well, there you go, man. Rudy Ray came up in here. Morales, his local barber here in Waco, Texas.
Sir,
And man, thanks for coming on, and we'll see y'all next time.
bless you.